Hello. So today I just want to talk to you about two issues with ultralight backpacking. Ultralight backpacking is normally a really good, a really healthy thing. Saving weight is good, but there's two main issues that can arise when you have an ultralight mentality, and I just want to talk about that today. If you're into backpacking, you probably know or have heard of the ultralight backpacking movement. It's basically where you try to save as much weight as possible, have the least amount of gear that you need, where you try to cut down on your weight in every possible way. Maybe you'll have a quilt versus a sleeping bag, or a trekking pole tent instead of a freestanding tent, or maybe you're gonna have a super lightweight like rain jacket that's not as heavy or durable as like a normal rain jacket. The goal is basically the same, is to reduce the weight you're carrying to the minimum possible weight while not sacrificing comfort or barely sacrificing comfort. So I'm not ultralight, but I have started to adopt an ultralight mentality when packing some of my gear. And I've noticed that I've started to ask a very dangerous question. That question is, how little can I bring? I mean, this question, it seems innocent enough. I mean, like, who wouldn't want to bring less or have to carry less? But it introduces the first issue with ultralight. The problem isn't just in the asking of the question and trying to consider your gear. The problem lies in when you try to test the limits of how little you can bring. So I have an example from real life. Earlier this year, I went on a backpacking trip. I brought, a couple of shirts, a puffer jacket, and a rain jacket. In the process of hiking, to the next shelter, the rain jacket soaked all the way through because the DWR coating, I guess, had not been refreshed. I had not refreshed the coating to make sure that the rain jacket was able to repel water. And so I ended up with only one shirt that was dry because the rain jacket soaked through to the shirt I was currently wearing. I had one shirt that was dry and one puffer jacket. And the weather was like in the 40s and the 50s. It was like high 40s, I think. And I realized that because I had chose to ask the question, how little can I bring? How little clothing can I wear? I was now stuck with clothing that was not enough. I basically had only one shirt and one jacket. And really, at that point, when I was cold and freezing and wet, I would have needed both those shirts. Really, I should have had another fleece or something that I could put on that was completely dry in a waterproof bag, and that I could wear in addition to that. So the real question you should ask that may come from experience is, what should I bring? Ask the question of what gear I should bring that will provide me with the optimum experience and also give me a reserve in case something goes wrong. So by no means is ultralight bad. Just be careful with it, Don't ask yourself how little you can bring. Ask yourself more likely, what should I bring? I believe you haven't liked this video yet. If you could do that, I'd be really appreciative of you. So the second problem with ultralight backpacking is that people obsess over the gear they bring and getting the exact lightest gear possible to the detriment of actually just enjoying the gear. A lot of times people will just be in their mind, be in their brain about thinking about, what gear should I have brought? Should I buy this fancy tent? Should I buy this new backpack, this new sleeping bag, and be just like obsessing over the ounces and the grams and making sure it's as light as possible, when really they should be just enjoying the gear. Get the sleeping bag, make sure it's light, but enjoy it. Don't be thinking about, what if I got another sleeping bag? What if I got this other tent? What if I, reworked it so it was this way or that way? at a certain point, you just have to accept that things will be imperfect, but you can still enjoy those things. You don't want to transfer the physical weight that would have been on your back of backpacking to mental weight of worrying about if you did the right thing. And for a lot of people, this whole ultralight thing doesn't even matter too much. You know, you're only going out on the weekends and maybe only a couple times a year. If you're going on long trails, the Appalachian Trail, the Colorado Trail, maybe this all matters a whole lot more to you because you're trying to really get in the miles. But for a lot of people, they're just trying to enjoy a weekend with friends and don't need to worry too much about the ultralight thing. So another thought is, like, do you even take this approach, this whole approach with trying to save the most weight possible, do you take this to other areas of your life? Do you apply it there? I bet if you have a push mower and it's kind of uncomfortable to push, you don't just automatically go out and get a riding mower. Or if you have a vacuum cleaner that doesn't really work 100% how it should, you don't just go upgrade the thing. I mean, you might, but a lot of times you kind of just live with what you have. And I think this approach might be better taken to, you know, the realm of backpacking, because a lot of us just have perfectly great gear and we'd be better off using that gear to its full potential rather than being wasteful and just going out and getting something new when it's not exactly as light as we'd want, or it's not the perfect kit. I mean, sure, if you find satisfaction in upgrading your gear to the lightest thing, then I guess you can do it. But for some of us, it's an obsession that destroys the enjoyment of the gear. It makes us always be thinking about if what we have is good enough, and it's kind of like an OCD thing. So there's always a better thing. There's always a better piece of gear, always a lighter piece of gear. Doesn't mean you need to have it. You can use what you have, and you can be content, and you can be happy. So in conclusion, 2 pitfalls of ultralight. One is trying to cut too many corners and bringing as little as possible. And the other is obsessing over doing that. You know, ultralight should be a way to replace your heavy gear with light gear. And if possible, keep gear at home that you don't need. It should not be a way to ask yourself, how can I get rid of, you know, this gear that I might need, you know? So it should also not be a way to constantly think to yourself, how can I make this better? You know, if you enjoy doing that, you know, knock yourself out. But a lot of times it can become like an exercise, an obsession in trying to get your weight down rather than an actual practical question of, oh, maybe I can just lower my weight a little bit, right? So anyway, hope you like that, guys. Please like and subscribe. That way I can make money off of this one day without having to, you know, just work a day job. So if you do that, I'd be very grateful. Please like this video. I'd appreciate it if you would.